Kelsey DeVille, and I'm the Bozeman Field Manager for Forward Montana here in Bozeman. We're here with John Meyer, a Democratic candidate for the 2018 congressional campaign. We'll be conducting these interviews with each House candidate for the 2018 primaries who has agreed to participate. Each candidate will be asked the same set of 8 questions surrounding issues that matter most to young Montanans. John, you ready to get started?
Yep.
Okay. First question. Many of our staff and volunteers are LGBTQ and trans. Do you support the expansion of Title VII of the Civil Rights Act to include sexual orientation and gender expression as protected classes? Why or why not?
I do support the expansion of the Civil Rights Act. It was passed in 1964, and it's time to update it.
Yeah, great. Okay, moving on. High schoolers and college students across the state have, as I'm sure you know, been organizing marches and walkouts on their campuses. Do you support closing loopholes in federal law that allow the sale of firearms without a background check, including gun shows and online purchases? Why or why not?
I do support closing federal loopholes. We do need background checks so that mentally ill people don't get a hold of guns. And I go even farther and say we should stop selling semi-automatic rifles. I hunt myself, and if you need a semi-automatic rifle to hunt an animal, you're a bad shot. And if you want to recreationally shoot with a semi-automatic rifle, I think you're really selfish.
Cool. All right. Moving on. What is your stance on a path to citizenship for undocumented immigrants who were brought to the United States as children, also known as dreamers?
I think that we need to pass legislation as soon as possible that provides a way for undocumented immigrants to become U.S. citizens.
Awesome.
Can I add?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
Please don't let me cut you up.
I was half-heartedly thinking about making a joke that it's important that we pass immigration policy because if not, I think that the Native Americans should start trying to deport the white Anglo-Saxons back to Europe.
Sure. Great point. Moving on. Montanans, as you know, love public lands, and many of our peers hope to pass along our wilderness areas to our kids, just like our parents did for us. How do you feel about opening more areas of public lands to oil and gas drilling?
I don't feel good about that.
Okay.
I practice environmental law. I'm an environmental attorney, so I'm not in favor of expanding any sort of oil and gas drilling on any public land.
Sure.
I think a good way to produce energy is by lifting any regulatory cap on the amount of renewable energy that can be produced. So right now in Montana, we have a limit on the amount. It's 50 kilowatts if you're a homeowner. And if you're not a homeowner, then you're not going to buy a solar panel for your rental. It makes no sense. Mm-hmm. And so I would love to introduce legislation that allows students, low-income folks, whoever, to become a part of some sort of cooperative where you can basically buy a share of a community solar system.
Cool. Great. One of my favorite questions. Can you tell me 2 truths and a lie about yourself, and I will guess the lie.
Yeah. I won a drag show in undergrad at the University of Montana.
Okay.
That could be a lie.
Sure. I'm a good guesser.
Okay. I won a drag show at Vermont Law School.
Oh, God. Okay. This is going to be tough.
Or I picked up a road-killed badger on my way home from Jackson Hole, put it in the back of my truck, skinned it, and the hide is in my freezer.
All right, let me think. Oh, God. All right. I am going to guess the lie is Vermont Law School. No, what was it?
I did not win a drag show at the University of Montana.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's probably more competitive there. I don't know. Awesome, cool. Well, that's great. Ready to move on?
Yep.
Okay. What is your stance?
We actually did have a LGBTQ group at the university or at Vermont Law School.
Awesome.
And they brought so they had a big drag show and brought professionals in, and then they had some sort of amateur. So
that's so
I
cool.
won the amateur contest.
Yeah, Vermont Law School. It's a great place.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on. What is your stance on a federal minimum wage of $15, and why do you feel that way?
I have mixed feelings about minimum wage of $15.
Sure.
It's tough in Montana, I think. If you live in rural Montana and you own a small diner and you're asking to go from $9 to $15, you could potentially go out of business pretty quick. Mm-hmm. And so I think that $15 is a great goal. I think that it should depend on where you live and the cost of living for whatever city you're in. But beyond like just a minimum, I would like to connect the highest paid employee to the lowest paid employee. So, and then like years ago, Ben & Jerry's ice cream, they used to have a policy where the president couldn't get paid more than 7 times the lowest paid employee. And so there's a huge incentive to then get your whole team working together instead of just, trying to take advantage of your employees don't get paid as much. And that'll protect your middle class. It'll get everybody moving together.
Do they still have that policy? Do you know?
Ben & Jerry's was purchased by Unilever.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay. That's right. Say no more. Yep. So as of 2017, there were 5,952 Montana students enrolled in 25 TRIO programs across the state. Do you support allocating federal funding for TRIO, which offers support for marginalized students enrolled in post-secondary education?
I didn't know what TRIO was until about half an hour ago when I looked it up.
Oh, no. Okay.
And
well, at least you did your research.
It sounds like it's a 3-part program where they provide opportunities for low-income, marginalized students to get into school, to do well in school, and then for postgraduate opportunities. And so absolutely I would support that.
Awesome. Cool. And then finally, last question. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you support providing free college tuition for 2-year community college programs? If not, what are your thoughts on addressing rising college tuition costs and student debt?
I completely support education, 2-year college, if not 4. Mm-hmm. I think we need to start taxing more heavily Wall Street and get some of that money from these guys that aren't doing anything. They're just making money off stock market and get kids into school that can't afford to go.
Yeah.
Seems fair.
Seems fair. Awesome, John. Well, thank you so much. It's been fun. I'm going to shut this off now. Do you want to say anything?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.